Happy to be part of the seminar series again after the previous week. Without taking much time, let me just give an introduction about tantras, mantras, and yantras. I think Dr. Lakshmi Srinivasan sir has already given bountiful knowledge about how science is connected to tantras, mantras, and yantras. Let me just summarize a few points about each one of them. Now, when we consider tantras, the basic definition is tanoti chatrayate, that which manifests as well as expands, protects. These are some intrinsic words that are used for tantra. So tantras are scriptures, technology based, science based, which have inclusion of mantras and yantras, which help for overall development of an individual, both materialistically as well as spiritually, which we call as laukika and adhyatmika. So what does it basically have? It basically does have esoteric practices. Esoteric as in those which are related to secret or hidden practices that are transmitted along a parampara or lineage from the guru to the shishya, from the teacher to the student. So basically they consist of Shabda Yoga, which is through utilization of mantras, Nada Yoga, the vibrations that emanate from such mantras, and the practices associated in yantra worship as well. What are the material benefits that we see in tantras is, they are vast in nature, which help us to attain benefits related to dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, which are known as chaturvarga phala. So they could be related to medicine, alchemy, astrology, engineering as well. And then there are spiritual benefits also at the intermediate level, which enable us to gain siddhis or powers such as anima, laghima, mahima, prapti, prakamya, ishatva, and vashitva. And also finally they talk about liberation, moksha, from the cycle of birth and death. So what do tantras actually have? They are in the form of spiritual conversations, dialogues between different devis and devas. They are classified as agamas and nigamas, where for agamas you have talks between devi and devatas, and nigamas between different devatas in the form of shishya and guru. So as I told you, these are rahasya scriptures which were orally transmitted as well as written sometimes. So what is their goal? Who are the stakeholders for such scriptures? Are people who do individual practices. So there were practices related to Vaidika, which were related to qualified people of Vedas, and there were practices related to congregation of people, just like the Bhakti cult. And then this is the Tantric cult, which is related to individual practice, which is done in secrecy inside your home, doing upasana of different devas and devatas. And it also connects, as Lakshmi Srinivasan sir told, connects to the prana shakti. Pranan deva anuprananti manushya pashavaschaye. All the devatas, the human beings, animals too, connect through the anuprana shakti to the final prana shakti, which is the supreme Brahman. Okay, having known about that, we will also list out certain types of tantras that are available. The first type is the tantras related to Sanatana Dharma, what we call commonly as Hindu tantras. And then we also have the Buddhist tantras and Jaina tantras. The Hindu tantras are around 90 to 92 in number. Most of them are lupta, lost. Some are available. They are again classified into Shaiva tantras, Vaishnava tantras, Shakteya tantras. Shaiva tantras are related to Shiva upasana, Rudra upasana. Vaishnava are related to Vishnu upasana. Example of Shaiva tantras could be, Rudra tantra, Kularnava tantra, and so on. Vaishnava tantras could consist of Satvata tantras, Pancharatras, and Vaikhanasa tantras. Shakteya tantras related to upasana of Shakti or Devi. They could be classified into Kali Kula tantras and Shri Kula tantras, which also have Dakshinachara and Vamachara practices, the right-handed path and the left-handed path. Kaula or Yamala tantra, which is union of devatas like Bhairava and Bhairavi, Rudra and Shakti, Krishna and Radha, and so on. Then there are also Kaumara tantras, which are related to upasana of Kartikeya or Skanda, Ganapatya tantras related to upasana of Ganesha, Saura tantras, which are related to upasana of Surya, and so on. These are also philosophically connected. You have Bheda Tantras, which are dualistic schools of thought, Abheda Tantras, as well as Bheda Tantras. So who are the origin of these tantras? So they are ascribed to different devas or devis. For example, Shaiva Tantras, the origin is obviously Sadashiva or Dakshinamurti Swarupa. For Shaktiya, it is Lalitamba. For Vaishnava Tantras, it is Hayagriva or Vaikhanasa Muni, Dattatreya, Krishna. And for Ganapatya Tantras, there are like, Uchishta Ganapati, Heramba, and so on. So having said about Hindu Tantras, we also have what are known as Buddhist Tantras, which are derivations which came in the later period. These Buddhist Tantras are also quite vast in number. You have the Shurangama Tantra, then you have the Ushnisha Bhairava Tantra, and so on. Vajra Vairochana, He Vajra, Yamantaka, these are, deities which are praised in such tantras. The idea is to connect the elements of power with certain devatas, do upasana of certain devatas within mandalas, which are geometrical designs that we will talk about in the yantra section, so as to obtain all the material benefits and finally moksha. So what are the different types of, known as karmas or the acts that could be realized through these tantras? They are generally known as shat karmas, which is vashikarana, Akarshana, Stambhana, Vidveshana, Maranochhatana, and Shantikarana, which are different types of actions like subjugation, attraction, paralyzing people, causing enmity, and so on. Having said all these things, it is definitely understood that, okay, tantras, are they related to occult? Tantras are, esoteric knowledge, which are like a double-edged sword, which could be used for good things as well as bad things. The one possibility is that they are mostly used for bad things because people have become very selfish, but that was not intended for. It is just like a nuclear bomb. You use it for good, you use it for bad, but then face the karma associated. So the different types of practices are also proposed in, tantras. Like you have the Dakshinachara and Vamachara. Dakshinachara has worship of devatas in the proper Pauranika or Vaidika path, where you do the Shodashopachara Puja, you also do Chatushashti Upachara Puja, Panchopachara, which are 5 types of upacharas or different types of puja services that we do to the Devata or Devi. Vamachara has Panchamakara Puja, which are a different category altogether. Using, these are applicable for people who are not in the direct path of worship, rather they have an indirect path of worship. People who are accustomed to non-vegetarian food or something out of the actual path of Vedic philosophy, they are also given an option to, turn towards spirituality in their own way. So this is about tantras in a summary. Next, we will come to mantras. Manana trayate, manasi trayate, iti mantraha means, that which expands and protects, which manifests through remembrance, which manifests through the mind. These are the definitions for mantra. So you keep repeating a specific, sequence of words, syllables in a specific way to manifest something that you want to happen in your life. These are grouped as mantras. This is similar to the contemporary method of affirmative healing and manifestation. We keep saying, okay, I will do this today, I will achieve something today, and it manifests today. That is what we see in the contemporary world, and that happens through mantras, which was taught long ago by our ancient seers. Mantras are repetitive chants, which are called as japa. For this also we have the proof from the Vedas, like Vagbhota, Diksha Patni, Apo Bhigaraha, and so on, which states that mantra is taken from the Guru through a specific process in the form of what is known as Diksha, initiation from a bona fide Guru from a specific lineage. The lineage could be different, it could be Hindu, Buddhist, Jaina, Sikh, and so on. There are many examples for each one of them. I think the time constraint probably to just give an example, you have, from the Shaiva lineage, you have the Shiva Panchakshari mantra, which is given as through the Diksha. Vaishnava lineage, you have Dvadashakshari and Ashtakshari mantras. Shakteya, you have Panchadashakshari mantra, Shodashakshari mantra, different mantras of Amba, Durga. Buddhist mantras, There are so many. You have mantras for healing, like, just to give an example, Om Mani Padme Hum is one mantra. Then you have Te Atha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhi Swaha. This is one medicine Buddha mantra, and so on. Then you also have Jaina mantras. Jaina mantras like Navakara mantra, Om Namo Arihantanam, Om Namo Siddhanam, and so on. You also have Sikh mantras, Vaheguru, and I think that has come in vogue. So mantras have expanded towards different, lineages throughout. And also about type of mantras, there are different types. There are Vaidika mantras, which come from the Vedas, Pauranika mantras, like the Sahasranama, or different stotras by Devatas, which appear in the Puranas. And there are Tantrika mantras, which appear from the Tantra. These mantras can be classified again into Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika. Sattvika mantras are mostly related to those which are, you want to manifest something good in your life. These are Sattvika mantras. Rajasika is something which is also associated with material benefits, like, you do something at the cost of something else. And Tamasika mantras is like something which is more towards the dark paths, where, at the cost of something that you give as your life, you get something else done. And there are also Mishra mantras, which are mix of Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika, and different permutations and combinations. Again, based on who has contributed to the mantra, we have, Brahma mantra. Brahma mantras are those which are related to Sattvika, which grant moksha. Then you have Daiva mantras, which are mantras which were given by different devatas ascribed to, higher energy, like the Sahasranama, the Lakshmi Sahasranama, and so on. And Arshaya mantras are mantras which were, composed by rishis and ascribed to devatas. Manaviya mantras composed by different saints, seers in the contemporary world. Yaksha mantras are mantras which were, ascribed to different beings like Yakshas, Gandharvas, Kinnaras to manifest something. You can also do upasana of Yakshas. You can do upasanas of Apsaras, Gandharvas to manifest whatever you want in life. Then there are also Paishacha mantras, which are the most, lowest grade of mantras, where people do upasana of, Pishachas and lower beings to manifest. These are totally Tamoguna mantras. Then you also have Bija mantras. Bijas like Pranava, Kleem, Harim, and so on. These are also associated with combination of devatas to manifest things. Based on Aksharas also, you have Panchakshari, Dwadashakshari, Ashtakshari, and so on. One example of mantra which has been derived right from Vedic till the Tantric is the Mrityunjaya mantra. You have the mantra in the Vedic meter as Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam. The same is seen in Puranas through Markandeya, who says Mrityunjaya Stuti. In that he says Mrityunjaya Rudraya Neelakanthaya Shambhave, and so on. And that is again extended to the Tantric mantras, which involves Om Haum Jumsah Ma Mrityor Palaya Palaya Rogan Mochaya Mochaya Ayur Vardhaya Vardhaya Sah Jum Haum Om Urvarukamyo Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiham Amrutat. This is a combination of Tantric mantra with the Vedic mantra. This says that there is a strong connection between, all the different scriptures, and there is improvement there. There are also usage of words like Swaha, Phat, and Hum, which carry different energies, I think, which Dr. Lakshmi Srinivasan sir explained in the previous talk. And there are also mention of mantras, like, Chindi, Bhindi, Handi, which are used, which in even the Vedas, they themselves state that these are all the mantras used for specific purposes, which have specific, frequencies that could be elaborated. And as I told you, Shatkarma is something which is again associated with these mantras to manifest whatever you want. And then there are also different classification of mantras based on how they are, pronounced. You have the Manasika mantras, which are pronounced within yourself in the mind without any sound syllable going out of your body. Then you have Vaikhari mantras, which are recited just with the movement of lips, but you don't feel any sound coming out of your mouth. And then there are Pashyanti. Pashyanti is seen mantras, which can be openly and loudly chanted. An example of all these are available. For example, your Pashyanti mantra is a normal Hare Rama Hare Krishna mantra, which can be done, in a congregation as a bhajana. Madhyama mantra, Gayatri is also a Madhyama mantra, which can be just movement of lips, but you do not have any sound from your body, from your mouth. And Vaikhari mantra is any Ashtakshari mantra or Gupta mantras that are, given by a guru. which can be chanted within your mind. Having told about mantras, now we will come to the yantra aspect. Yantra basically comes from the definition yam trayate, ya yatnena trayate. Trayate means to protect, to manifest as well. So it helps to manifest whatever somebody wants in the form of a physical physical aspect for anybody. Yam means anyone, to whom. And yatnena trayate, by repeated practice, by repeated effort of worshipping a geometrical design which has specific measurements, by invoking certain devatas, deities or gods inside the geometrical pattern. So this is what the concept of yantra is associated with. So these geometrical designs have specific measurements, have specific forms associated, in which at each point different devatas are, there is avahana, or calling them upon at specific points and doing upacharas or pujas to them, so that you get the whole yantra gets energized. The prana shakti you infuse into the yantra. These yantras are also embossed on specific elements like copper, brass, certain metals which are very good conductors of electricity or any other forms of energy. As we know, electromagnetic force is something which is available in our body that can be transferred to the yantra through prana pratishtha, infusing energy into the yantra on specific points with specific mantras associated with the devatas. And it is also done on specific elements like water or leaves like bhurjapatra. So they themselves, all these information are given in the tantric scriptures themselves, in the agamas themselves. And what are the constituents of yantras? There are various constituents. The first constituent is the mantra. So in order to infuse energy, you need a mantra associated with a devata for the yantra. And then you have the bindu. Bindu is a specific point of concentration, the middle point of concentration on which you contemplate on the devata. Then there are different geometrical designs. You have a square, shadja, and you have a trikona, triangle. You have a shatkona, hexagon. You have a circle, vritta, and you also have lotuses associated, padmas, which different number of petals like panchadala, 5 petaled, ashtadala, shodashadala, 16 petaled, and so on. And there are also avaranas associated. Each avarana is associated with a specific devata on whom we do the worship, and then it is like you go from the outermost avarana to the innermost avarana. You approach the devata. The devata in the innermost avarana is very strong and powerful. And in order to approach the devata, you approach him through the outermost avarana, for whom there are parshada devatas or tutelary sub deities to whom worship is done, and then you go forward. So, what is the aspect of this yantra in helping us? Most of the time, I think, as Dr. Lakshmi Srinivasanji has already explained how you can manifest energy through yantra. There is one more aspect, that is healing through yantras. Just like, you concentrate on specific art. Today's contemporary world, we have seen that art, you have, different, paintings and all with different colors, which, brings calmness to the mind. Similarly, these yantra patterns are so esoteric and have healing abilities that you keep on watching and you are in contact with them. You have the EMF associated and you also derive benefit out of it. You also have a visual healing through these yantras. So these are all connected. Tantra, yantra, and mantra are connected. Without each, single-handedly, also you can derive benefit as well as together. Examples of yantras. Obviously, there are Shri Yantras that we see in the market today, where everybody starts selling Shri Yantra, but it is the choice of the yantra should be such that they should have a definite diametrics and so on. Sudarshana Yantra, Narayana Yantra, Medha Dakshinamurti Yantra, so many are available. So in summary, I just explained you about the different types of yantras, different types of mantras, and different types of tantras. How to use it for the well-being is related to the individual, whatever he wants to manifest. But the ultimate goal of all these tantras, mantras, yantras is to get out of the karmic cycle, attain liberation, moksha. So basically, it gives both material benefits, laukika as well as adhyatmika. Both benefits are available. So I think this gives a clear picture of how this can be utilized.